Welcome in to the Arkansas Sports Network's Hometown Sports Football Preview, proudly presented by Arkansas Tech University, D3 Auto Sales, and Metcalf Trucking and Trailer Repair. Today we sit down with Fordyce Red Bug head coach Tim Rodgers. This pigskin preview is brought to you by shelter insurance agent Chase McCollum.
Welcome back to the Hometown Sports Arkansas Football Preview presented by the Arkansas Sports Network. I've got Coach Rodgers of Fordyce here. Fordyce, a traditional power, and I'm glad to be able to talk with him. And excited to talk about the Fordyce Red Bugs, one of the traditional teams inside the state of Arkansas. I mean, when you play in Paul Bear Bryant Stadium, I'll say you've got a little bit of tradition. Wouldn't you say, Coach?
Yes, sir. It's a great privilege and great honor to be able to coach over there. And, I've spent my whole coaching career in Fordyce and been able to play on the field and coach on the field and everything. And it's just, it is. It's a great honor and a privilege.
It's that when you got a name as legendary as that one, I mean, there's just, when you talk about football, there's not too many names more legendary than the man from Fordyce himself, Paul Bear Bryant, and he's got his name on the stadium. Of course, the name on the stadium doesn't win ball games. There are a lot of factors that help you win ball games down there. You've definitely won your fair share down there at Fordyce. We did a couple ball games down there. It's been a while back. I think the last one we did was Clarendon in the semifinals, back in 21, I think. But Coach, let's talk a little bit about last year. Your team, a little bit up and down, 6-6, but was able to get out into the playoffs a little bit. And you lost to the eventual state runner-up Prescott, 7-6. So. You guys were in the mix when it came down to the end.
Yes, sir. We did. We had an up and down year. I mean, we started off with the win, and then we had a big letdown against Glen Rose the next week, and then we lost to Prescott, and then we got into conference, and we did all right there in conference there, and ended up making the playoffs, finishing runner up in our conference, and just I guess our whole season and kind of what we built on this year is, we've talked to the kids, it's 1 yard. I mean, we were 1 yard away from being district champs, and we were 1 yard away from being in the state finals last year. And, that was one of our things last year. We just couldn't do the little things and finish up ball games, and we couldn't gain a yard. There were 2 or 3 games where if we gained 1 yard, we're district champs, and then we're in the state finals. And we just couldn't do that last year. And that kind of sums up our whole season from last year. It's just 1 yard.
You were close, yes. But no cigar, as they say, right?
Yes, sir. I mean, and that's that was a thing that really stuck with our kids. And we really impressed this year and off season and everything. It's just, I mean, we were 6-6 and we had chances and stuff, and we just couldn't do it. I mean, and we've got to get back to that mentality that we had in 19 and 20 and 21, where if we got a yard to make it, we know we're making it and we're going on. And we haven't had that the last couple of years. We've kind of struggled on some of those things, and that's one of the things we're really, really pushing and forcing on our kids this year. We got to be able to make 1 yard.
So let's talk about your assistants. I know that those guys don't get a lot of run, and in these interviews, we've been trying to make sure that we get a little bit of run for those guys. Those guys are a lot of times, they're the guys that do a lot of the dirty work. So tell me about who you got surrounding you as assistant coaches.
Well, our staff here at Fordyce is, one of the better ones that I can think of, because a lot of the coaches that we have are from Fordyce, and that's one of the great things I like about it is they played here, they've lived here, so they know what's expected and what needs to be done. And I guess I'll start off with Coach Musgrove, Mitchell Musgrove. He's the defensive coordinator, and he was the ball boy on the 90 and 91 team when we won state. And, and he got to play here, and then he got to coach here, and when we won it in 19 and 20. And, he does a great job there. Coach Bobby McGee, he played here in the 90s, and he works at the school here, and he helps us on offense, offensive coordinator, and works quarterbacks and running backs. And he's from Fordyce too. Tommy Tidwell is another one of our. He works with the linemen and linebackers, and he's also from Fordyce. He played 13, 14, 15 in football season during those times when we won conference. Kedrick Sledge is another one that played here. He played quarterback and running back. He went and played at Henderson, and he's another one from Fordyce, and he's here, and he helps with defensive backs and running backs and quarterbacks. And those four right there are all from Fordyce. Coach Anthony Social, which worked with us when we won state in 19 and 20 and got there in 21. He went into administration, but he's going to come back out this year, and he's going to help us on offense and defense too. Gary Gamble, he's from Mineral Springs, but he's lived here in Fordyce a while, and he's got two sons that are playing on a team. And we got lucky getting him. He has a good rapport with the kids, and he does a great job with the defensive and offensive line. Philip Proctor, which is one of our elementary teachers, he helps out. And, he played here also and played running back and defensive back. My son, Delton Rodgers, he teaches math at the junior high, and he helps out with junior high and senior high and taking care of things. And we also got another coach whose wife is from Fordyce, Stephen Lynn. He helps out with special teams and taking care of things for us. And, all of those guys, have somehow, some way they're connected with Fordyce, and it makes it good to work with all those guys. Most of them I've coached through here, and now, they're back here working. We're all working together there, and it's just a great staff. And like you said, a lot of times people don't think of the assistant coaches when you do a lot of things, because, they're the ones that do a lot of the hard work, and they do a lot of things that people just take for granted. And plus, over half our coaches are not getting paid to coach football. So they're doing it because they love it and they want to help out. I think just 4 of us are getting paid to coach football. The other ones are doing it because they want to help out and be part of the program. And you got to admire somebody that does that. And I really, really appreciate those guys that come out there and help out, because it's a lot of time during school, after school, weekends, and during the season. And, most time we play 12, 13, 14 games. So that's a long time of working and not getting paid for it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really good way of putting it there. And, I like how you put it too about some of these that are coaching, they're teaching math class as well. I know that here in the state of Arkansas, there are a few people that get a chance to coach football, and that's what they get paid for. But you guys down there at Fordyce, you got to teach a few classes every once in a while, and just do a few other things besides just get out there and coach ball.
Yes, sir. I've been here 39 years, and I'm still teaching U.S. history and boys and girls PE, and I know my son's teaching math. Coach Proctor, he's teaching math down to elementary school. Coach Soch is dean of students. Coach Musgrover, dean of students, and Coach McGee's one of our counselors. Coach Sledge is a computer teacher. Coach Gamble teaches history and helps out. Coach Lynn's a science teacher. So, we're not just sitting around doing football all day long. I mean, we're having to teach classes and do duty. I mean, I still do lunch duty and duty out front in the school, and all of our other coaches still do duty too. So it's a lot of other stuff that goes on, which we are teachers first and then we're coaches. But they do it because they like it. I mean, it's the big raise that we got, and it helps out a lot. I know my son doubled his pay last year when they moved it up to 50, but I know that a lot of it, you're not in it here to make a lot of money. You're doing it because you love teaching and being around kids.
And being around the game, I mean, no doubt about it. The game draws us back. I mean, one of the reasons why I do what I do is because the game draws me back. some way, and I want to be a part of it. A lot of people want to be a part of a winner, and you guys got a winner down there at Fordyce. You've won a lot of ball games. Let's talk a little bit about the offense that you run. You guys have listed that you run a wing tee. Tell us a little bit about your wing tee and what you do down there.
We run our basic from seventh grade through 12th grade. We start out and we learn the wing tee, but we do a lot of spread stuff too. But our basic and what we get down to, we're going to learn 6 basic plays. When you're going to learn the trap and the G play and the double barrel reverse and a couple of blast plays. And our kids from 7 through 9, they know we're going to run 6 plays in a ball game. And senior high, by the time they get senior high, they know those 6 plays. And there's lots of times that when we're in huddle or we're in a big ball game and, it's 4th and 1 or 3rd and short, and we need a yard or something, our kids in the huddle, you can ask the coaches have been here. They know we're going to run, there's about 2 or 3 plays we're going to run. We're going to run the trap or the G play. And, they know that. That's just something that we're going to do. But here lately in the last few years, we have run a lot of spread stuff because of all the skill people that we have. We have a lot of good receivers. This year we're going to have a young quarterback, but we're going to put a lot of things on him as far as throwing the ball because we have a lot of receiver and skill people that we need to take advantage of us spreading it out and getting them out there. But basic wise, we're going to start there and then we're going to go from there as far as spreading it out and doing things.
You run a 3-4 on the defensive side of the ball. Tell us a little bit about your 3-4.
A few years ago, we had always been a 4-4, almost as long as I can remember being here. And then a few years ago, me and Coach Musgrove went over to McGee and talked to Coach Carter, Bobby Carter over at McGee. And we talked to him and went over there a couple of days and talked to him about switching up because we just felt we needed to do something different. And when we went to the odd front and we thought we were going to have some pretty good people as far as linebackers and stuff, we wanted to get more of them on the field instead of linemen. And it changed a lot. And when we changed defenses and went to an odd front, we did that in 2019. And when we did that, it changed and helped our defense out a lot because usually we played a 3 deep secondary. This was able to let us go to 2 deep, 4 underneath, and we're able to do man and coverage a little bit more and stuff like that right there, which helped us out a lot. And we were with the skill people that we have, we're very fast on defense, and with the odd front, it lets us only have to have 3 down linemen, and a lot of the other guys can run and make plays. So that's helped us out a lot going to an odd front.
You guys have 15 starters listed as returning for you guys. Brendan Simmons, Tayshawn Childs, and Keelan Ellison are the guys that are leading the way on the defense?
Yes, sir. That was towards the end of the year. We had gotten a lot better on defense. I know Keelan Ellison, he did a good job in the secondary. I think he had 6 interceptions and some breakups and stuff. And towards the end of the year, he had figured it out, and he was doing a good job back there. Linebacker wise, towards the end of the year, also Brendan Simmons and Tayshawn Childs, they had figured it out too, and they were doing what Coach Musgrove was asking, and we got a lot better there on defense. I mean, you can look. I know the Prescott game, the score was 7-6. We did a good job on defense. We just couldn't finish the game, but our kids got a lot better there as the year went along, and that's what we're looking for. Is your seniors are going to lead a lot, and those 3 guys are 3 of the bigger guys that we got to have there on defense to make plays this year.
And looks like Brenton Sledge is a guy that you guys are going to use a lot. He finished with over 1,000 yards last year.
Yes, on offense, he was the big games that we had last year. He was the man in those games. There's no other way to say it. I mean, against Harmony Grove, I think he carried the ball 35 times and had close to 300 yards rushing. We just kept feeding him. There was a couple other games. I think the Barton game, he had close to 200 yards, and there was a couple other games he had 100 yards. The thing about Sledge is we got to get him a little bit bigger, and we got to get him a little bit stronger, put some weight on him. I mean, he was about 150 pounds, and we just wore him down sometimes last year, and he was kind of banged up. But we're going to get him stronger and bigger this year because he's one of those guys that you can count on making plays all the time, and he's going to be a big part of our offense this year.
And then you've got Jamarcus Cranford and Jamartez Stroud as guys going to catch the ball for you.
Yes, those are. I know Jamarcus. I think he finished second in the 100 this year in the state track meet, and he's one of those guys who's just got speed. We got to get the ball to him down the field and on fast screens. Same thing with Jamartez. And thing about Jamartez is he was just a ninth grader last year. He's got 3 more years, and he's getting faster and bigger and stronger. And the last couple of years here at Fordyce, we've moved up our best ninth grader the last 3 or 4 years to help out on high school because numbers. We're a 3A school. We've played 3A the last few years, but our numbers, athletic wise, most time we're 2A numbers. 25, 30 kids maybe. This year, with everybody out and stuff, we got 39 kids out there right now, which is a good number for us. And Cranford and Jamartez, 2 of our younger guys, we're expecting a lot out of them this year.
Of course, I've been privy to this, so I'd like to know what it's like. Your offensive line in the past has been massive. Tell us a little bit about what you got up front.
That's going to be the big question mark this year because last year we had 8 seniors, and all of them were linemen except 2. So 6 of our linemen last year were seniors, and 5 of them started. So we got to replace everything on the offensive line. And over the last few years, we had some big kids come to the school here the last few years here at Fordyce. I mean, there was not funny wise, but it caused us some problems in that there was only certain uniforms we could wear because we didn't have the sizes to fit a lot of them. We got some new uniforms a few years ago, and we didn't have enough of the larger pants to wear them a lot of times. That's how big we were at certain positions. And but a lot of those guys have graduated, and we're not as big up front as we've been being. But we do have some young men that we're kind of counting on, and we're hoping that they can step up. We have I know Chauncey Robinson, which started some last year and played. I know he'll have to, he's going to have to help us some. Scott Warner and Jarvin Cross and AJ Hines are guys that are going to be seniors this year. That we're going to have to get something out of them this year because, we got to find 5 linemen. We got to find a center, 2 guards, and 2 tackles. We got some guys. I know we had a kid move in from Malvern, Kyle Randall, that we're kind of looking at and hoping that he can pan out. We got some ninth graders, Tashumbi Ledbetter and Josh Owens and Cortez Leaks and Julian Sanchez that we're kind of counting on there. And then, we got a guy, you talk about Paul Bear Bryant, we got some of his relatives that are playing on here. We got a kid named Bryant Robinson that he got a lot better last year at junior high, and he's going to be a 10th grader this year. And we're kind of looking for him to kind of step up and play and help some as a 10th grader. And we also got another kid, Nate Bryant. He's going to be an 11th grader this year. And he didn't get a lot of playing time last year, but he's gotten a lot stronger in the weight room, and he's getting in shape, and we're hoping that he can help us out there. But all those guys that I mentioned, a lot of them, they're going to have to step up somehow in some way because 5 of those guys are going to have to start on the offensive line.
You got to have guys to block. That's where it starts. And you guys have had success in the past, but it's just like any other program, plug and play, right? The next one up, and looks like you guys are going to have to produce there. But we know that Fordyce always is able to figure out a way somehow. Let's talk a little bit about, you've got an all-state returning player in Brenton Sledge. I know we've touched on him. Got Brendan Simmons, Keelan Ellison, and Jamartez Stroud as returning all-conference players. I'm going to throw this in as well. Who would you expect to surprise this year? Maybe that's off the radar just a little bit.
I guess one that I'm kind of looking for some big things this year is going to be Vincent Stroud. We moved him up as a ninth grader a couple of years ago, and last year he played and started last year, and he struggled at times, and then there were certain games that he had big games. And this year he has really been working in the weight room, getting extra time in and doing some things. And Vincent Stroud's going to be one that I think is going to surprise a lot of people this year. He's going to have to, and I think he is. I think he's then got that mindset, and he wants to step up and take over some things this year. And I think he'll be able to do that. And another one, and I mean, I'm kind of going to go out on a limb on this, but AJ Hines is one. He's got to produce this year. I mean, the kid, he's 6'5" and about 250. I mean, you see a kid, and I mean, you see him walk in the hallways. You see him walk into the weight room. You see him get dressed and walk down to the football field, and you look at him and you're thinking, that guy right there. And that's the thing about it. I mean, he looks the part. This year he's a senior, and I'm hoping, and we're putting a lot of stuff on him that, he's one of those who's got to step up and play this year. Somebody that's got that much ability and that much talent and that size and stuff. As coaches, we got to figure out some way to get it out of him, because you look at that right there, 6'5" and 260. That's a pretty good athlete right there.
You're in one heck of a conference. Just looking at your just the conference foes here: Fordyce, McGee, Dumas, Recen. I mean, right there, that four right there. You're talking about four traditional type of teams right there. Then you've got Barton, Lake Village. Lake Village always produces massive athletes. DeQuavius, oh gosh, what's his last name now? Forget, but he's going to Tulsa from Lake Village, guy that nobody really talks about a lot. But the whole point of that is that he and at Lake Village, a lot of people don't talk about those guys, but that's a school full of athletes.
Yes, that's one thing about our conference is we don't have any just weak teams in our conference anymore. We were in AA. There were a couple that were not as good every year in, year out. But Lake Village always has athletes. Barton always has athletes. Dumas always has athletes. McGee always has athletes. Recen, they're always have athletes. And you kind of most people may not think about it, but Drew Central the last few years, they've kind of turned it around over there, and they're getting to where that they're a lot tougher team to play than than a few years ago. And they've gotten better. And I know our non-conference, we have we're playing Magnet Cove. We're playing Monticello, and we're playing Mineral Springs. So we got some good games this year, and our schedule, there's not any really weak teams on our schedule this year. And I know Palestine Wheatley is a new team in our conference, and I was looking at the state track meet, and I noticed their relay team finished in the top 5, I think, and they had a couple other guys. So you sitting there thinking, they got some athletes up there too. So none of the teams that we play are not going to have athletes where that they can't compete with people. Yeah,
you're definitely going to have to deal with speed on a daily basis when you're dealing with that conference there, Coach. You touched on a little bit new conference there. You've already kind of touched on it with some of those teams there. Just being night in and night out, going to be a tough place to play. We asked for a quote, and you didn't fill this one out. It was one of your assistants. And so I want to point this out. It's kind of funny, actually. The coach quote was, "We just hope to finish better than 6-6."
Yes, seriously, yes. That's not what we strive for here. I mean, and you think, well, we didn't have a losing record, but there were so many close games that we had the last couple of years, and I think we finished 6-6 the last 2 years, and that's just something we got to change. And we've been letting little things slide by. We've been letting little things get us in games. Can't gain the yard. Can't do this. Can't do that. And we got to get back to that mentality that we're going to gain that yard and we're going to do things. And that's what we've been really stressing with our kids, especially in the weight room. Track, we've done a lot better in track the last few years. Coach Anthony Hammonds, which is our basketball coach, and he also coaches track. We won district this year in track, which is the first time we've won it since 1991.
Okay.
That's the last time we won track. And that just tells you the amount of kids that we have as far as speed and just getting out there and effort and trying and stuff. And these young men are getting better that way. And, track helps out everything, football, basketball, everything. And that's one thing I'm proud of there. And we're hoping, we need to get away from those 6-6 records. And if you look at last year, there's 3 or 4 ball games where we gain a yard or something like we said, and we're not 6-6. We're probably in the state finals again if we just take care of things.
All right, final question here. It will be a successful season at Fordyce if?
Well, I know the way our schedule is set up, it wasn't like it used to. But I know our number one goal almost every year is we want to beat Recen. That's number one. And we used to play in first game of the year, so that made that so important and stuff. And we work hard a lot. And now that we play Recen either week 7 or 8, it kind of changes that around. But that's one thing we really harp on first is, we want to win the Recen game every year. The other thing is that, we want to win district. We want to win district so we can get a good seeding in the playoffs and stuff. But the thing is, we just want to play up to our ability. I mean, a lot of people say that and that part of it, but our kids, we got to understand, we just want to win with some class and some character. In the last couple of years, we've kind of drifted away from that, and that's kind of hurt us a little bit. And that's the reason we've been 6-6, and we're really pressing on that this year is make sure that we just do things with some class and character. And number one goal, I think if we do that, the wins are going to take care of themselves.
I think that's a great explanation. And I really look forward to seeing what happens here with the Fordyce Red Bugs. And I'll put a bug in your ear right now. We'd love to come down there and live stream that Recen game. I'll tell you, I have been told, and I've got like 5 minutes left on this stream here, but I have been told there ain't nothing like it in the state of Arkansas. I've yet to be able to see it. I'd love to come down there one time and be a part of it.
Yes, I know. Well, we play them at home this year in high school, and my first year at Fordyce in 1985, my first game as an assistant, we went to Recen and played, and I'm from Monticello, and I've never, the amount of people, where they were at on the fence and around in the hedgerows back there at Recen, and just the atmosphere. I mean, and it's that way all the time. I mean, even last year, Recen wasn't doing very good last year when we played them and stuff, but the crowd was big. It's always a big game, and it's always just the atmosphere. I mean, that's what you want in high school football, and that's one thing I love about coaching at Fordyce. And I know when Coach Toddy was at Recen, he was from Fordyce, and me and him, we always talked about that. It's just a great football game, and I've seen, we got those, what's that thing they fly, the drone.
Mm-hmm.
That drone go up. We had a guy here that does a drone, and it just shows the parking lot and the lights and the amount of people and everything. It's just amazing that you got that many people and vehicles and everything at a high school football game in a little town like Recen and Fordyce. And man, that's why you love high school football right there. To me, that's the most important thing right there. It's just kids get out there, fans, everybody's at the football game on Friday nights.
Well, Coach Rodgers, I think you've covered a lot of ground here today. We appreciate you joining us here on the Hometown Sports Arkansas Football Preview presented by the Arkansas Sports Network. We'd like to remind you, if you're watching this right now, that you can find all kinds of content on Facebook and YouTube. Just join up with us. It's going to be I'm telling you, it's worth it. Anyway, Coach Rodgers, thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it a lot.
Thanks again for joining us on the Arkansas Sports Network's Hometown Sports Football Preview. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Arkansas Sports Network on YouTube to catch more previews and all the latest updates on your favorite teams.